Welcome to another episode of Treknicity, the show where we, as your hosts, talk about that show, Star Trek. I'm your host, Lars the Scenza, coming to you from somewhere beyond the cosmos, or perhaps it's just Southern California, or perhaps it's one and the same. And joining me is my fellow Red Shirt Geek and hetero life mate, Patrick. Say hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. It's a new year. I don't really care anymore.
No.
Also, we've only got 2 more movies to review and a disaster to discuss.
Yeah, that's right.
So, this is going to be not many more of these. Yay!
In this episode, we are going to talk about the reboot universe movie, first movie, Star Trek 2009, directed by J.J. Abrams.
Also known as his Star Wars Episode 7 demo reel.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. At least he didn't put all the lens flares in The Force Awakens, thankfully. Amen to that!
I'm going to go on record and just say that The Force Awakens, actually, I forgave him for what he did to Star Trek when he put out Force Awakens, so I was okay.
Well, I'm going to forgive it. I'm not going to curse him that much because basically I just got through watching this movie did a stream of Chrono Trigger, and then now we're recording. So.
Yep. So
yeah.
I mean, look, this movie, before we get into the blow by blow that we typically follow on this show, or at least with these reviews, the thing I want to say is that I am not a fan. I am really not a fan of these Kelvin timeline movies or the reboot of the franchise. And it has nothing to do with the fact of whether or not they are a well-produced movie or not. The second one was absolute garbage and doesn't technically exist. We call it the non-con movie, or I call it the non-con. But anyways...
I use too many obscenities for this show when I describe the movie.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're just going to gloss over that one
pretty quickly. The next episode, you're going to have to use the censor button.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, I just have to cue up the beep, the censor beep. But anyways,
yep.
Yeah. So we're gonna start this movie, and as usual, I'm gonna let Patrick go through his notes, his liner notes for this, and I'll just jump in there and kind of give you some color commentary as I go.
So let's start there. The first thing we notice as we're getting the opening logos of about 4 or 5 studios is Michael Giacchino's score. This is my favorite score of any Star Trek movie, period. Because Michael Giacchino is basically the guy that when it comes down to it, it will have to replace John Williams when he dies. And he's that good.
Wow.
So yeah. So we get the slow swelling of the music, and then we cut to something streaking past. It pulls out, and we find out this is the USS Kelvin. There's lens flares, there's all these sounds that sound very Trek, except really well produced and sounds not cheesy. So then we cut to the bridge where we get blinded as Captain Red Shirt. I forget his name. It doesn't really matter. He's going to die quickly anyway.
The name is Captain Robow.
Who cares? He's dead. So basically, they're looking at some weird anomaly like a lightning storm in space, and we're cutting through to everybody running, and holy crap, it's Chris Hemsworth! This is more, I don't think he was as big as he is now, back when they made this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that was Lieutenant Thor, right?
Yeah, but that's before the Marvel Cinematic Universe really got going.
True, I mean, this was 2009. Remember, the Marvel Cinematic Universe only started the year before with Iron Man.
Yeah, so we didn't even have Thor, the okay movie. Or Thor, the craptastic movie. Or Thor, the holy crap, that's an awesome movie. Or any Avengers flick. Or Captain America Civil War, which is better than all the rest. But he wasn't in that one, so oh well. Okay, so, yeah. Hemsworth is playing a character by the name of George Kirk. As in Captain James T. Kirk's father. So, big ass ship comes out, big tentacle party. What the hell thing is this?
Yeah,
you don't know.
I mean, it looks like a spork on steroids. I mean, it looks like a dentist drill in space. I mean, come on. You know, if I would not have been surprised if this thing went, as it came spinning out of the wormhole.
And we get Eric Bana giving a wooden performance, even though he's wild-eyed and covered in tattoos, and apparently looks possibly Romulan. Well, we don't know for certain yet, but either way, they come out and they just start shooting. And I will say this: this couple minutes of just quick blasting the hell out of the Kelvin is beautiful. It is everything that you would want to see in a space battle. You got phasers being blasted, phasers firing, and interceptors being fired, missiles coming in, ripping the ship. Somebody gets sucked out, and suddenly you're complete silence as you see beams being fired. Not the normal starship. What it would actually sound like if you were sucked out into space.
Right. That was okay. I have to give credit where credit is due. When they cut to the being blown out into space, when the person gets blown out and they bounce off the hull and basically there's no sound, no sound whatsoever because it's in the vacuum of space. That one, I was actually really surprised at how much I like it. But we're actually gonna come up to another bit here in just a second that I will tell you is my absolute favorite part of any of these reboot movies.
So they saddle up and basically the captain Nero, I can't remember. Yeah, Nero shows up and tells the captain or somebody, I don't remember exactly, shows up and tells the captain to come over to discuss terms. So Captain Red Shirt goes over and gets stabbed.
It's not Nero that calls him over. It's his second in command, Niall.
Who cares? Either way, he's going to die. We know this. So the captain goes over. He asks about this ship, and he asks about Ambassador Spock, and then gets the star date, and then stabs him, and they start shooting again.
What I don't get? Okay, hang on a second. Let me stop you for a second. Okay. Now, as we understand it, okay, those who do not understand the backstory, we have to explain it here a little bit just to understand why this ship comes out of a wormhole and starts shooting instead of asking questions. Okay, the backstory.
We learn that later in the movie, of course.
Right, but it's important to talk about it now. I mean, okay, so first of all, important spoiler alert.
Eat my lips.
The thing is, the story actually starts in the early 25th century, and
25 years before the main part of this.
Right. So what happens is they find out this massive star goes supernova. They know there's gonna be a problem. Spock goes to the Vulcan High Command and says, "Hey guys, this thing is gonna blow up Romulus if we don't do something about it." And the Vulcans are like, what do we care? Whatever, man. It's just Romulans. And they're like, dude, they're our genetic brothers. Come on, man. We're talking about reunification for all this time. Now we're going to let them get blown up. Anyways, he goes and talks to now Captain Geordi LaForge, who creates the jellyfish ship that we see Spock in later in the movie. And another spoiler alert, Captain Data. Yes, the B4 android from Nemesis has been, his personality has been subsumed by Data because Geordi actually figured out how to upgrade his positronic net. So what happens is Spock takes off with the red matter, which is a J.J. Abrams shtick. That and Slusho always appear in all of his crap. So he goes to take care of the problem, gets there too late. The supernova blows up Romulus. Nero shows up and says, "Oh my God, you were supposed to save us and you didn't." Wah. So Spock fires the red matter, opens up a singularity, sucks in the supernova, and of course at the same time sucks in Nero's ship and his ship, which pushed them back into the past.
And that's in the Prime timeline. All that happens. Now we are in the Kelvin timeline, which I will give them credit. At least they did say, we're going to actually create a logical reason why we're going to rewrite the entire universe.
Right, and I mean, okay, yes, you credit where credit is. They did explain. I mean, they explicitly mention it. Spock mentions it in a scene on the bridge. So now
Yeah,
we're back to that. At least I wanted to bring that up because it's important to say there's a reason why this guy shows up because Nero actually kills Captain Robow with his spear chucking thingy looking whatever because Robow at this point, nothing really happens except for Robow asks the question, what gives you the right to attack a Federation starship? Well, remember, just like a few seconds ago, he just watched Romulus blow up because the Federation and the Vulcans didn't act quickly enough. So there is true motivation when he asks the question, and he doesn't actually do anything until that question is asked.
Either way, they make him angry. We don't like him when he's angry. No. Wait, what?
Yeah, we've never seen him.
Bad flashback. No, never the Hulk. Okay.
Next thing you know, you're going to tell me that Nick Nolte was the Hulk's father or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know. Look, I know.
Okay.
We're coming up.
So let's get back on this, because otherwise we'll never get through this episode. Because I got 3.5 pages here. That's how much stuff happens in this movie.
Right.
So they start firing on the ship. George Kirk orders the evacuation. His wife is on board, and she's about to pop out a little James T. So they rush her to the shuttle with a few doctors, including Dr. Big Eyes or whatever weird thing. Yeah. So, yeah, they wheel out, and George Kirk, Captain Thor Hemsworth Kirk, tries to go set the autopilot to crash the ship into him, but no, the autopilot's not working, so he's going to stay. So his family goes off, and this is really a cool part. The music swells. We stop hearing the battle.
That's right. This point right here, absolute, without a doubt, my favorite part in any of the reboot movies. This part right here is the most emotional part of any of these movies they've done. There is nothing that compares to it. I mean, this actually to the point, it pushes me to the point of being emotional. Like, wow, like the hairs on my arms stand up when I see this whole section of the movie.
Because they're naming Jim Kirk, and she knows he's going to die. He knows he's going to die. The ship's flying in, and it hits, explodes. He's dead. They pull out. The ship's firing and listing as the shuttles escape, and the music swells, and the opening title pops up. And it's like, holy shit, this is going to be an awesome movie. I can't wait to see how they continue the story. And we get a kid in a wait a minute, it was a Corvette, I believe.
Yep.
Driving, gets the stupid Nokia tone, and apparently his stepfather's yelling at him. So what does he do? Turns it off, cranks up Beastie Boys playing Sabotage, blows the lid off, and goes racing down, and it is an ass-kicking thing. Cop goes flying by.
Also,
flying after him.
Nice little nod there. The boy he passes is actually his brother Samuel Kirk. And the other thing that's funny is just so you know that that Nokia phone in that car, even though it is the 23rd century, I'm pretty sure that phone is actually from the 20th century. It probably lasted that long. Probably on one battery.
Well, it is a Nokia. Yeah. They suck, but they'll last forever.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had to replace a Nokia phone. I don't think I ever replaced my old Nokia phones because they stopped working. I replaced them because they're boring and stupid and lame. So, cop gets up, tells him to pull over. He cuts off, races on back dirt road towards the cliff, shoots off the cliff, but flips open the door, dives out, drags in, hanging off the edge, and climbs up. And, of course, says, "What is your name?" "James Tiberius Kirk." "Oh, yay, it's Kirk." We cut to Vulcan. And the Vulcans are all, and we get a shot of Vulcan where it doesn't look lame and stupid like all the old classic Trek movies. Seriously. In Star Trek Motion Picture, that version of Vulcan is so damn stupid.
And the funny thing is that filming location is 10 minutes that way.
I believe it.
It's yeah.
But what was it? Ass Rock?
It's at Vasquez Rocks, yeah.
Oh, is that Vasquez? Okay. But yeah, this time Vulcan looks like a real functional planet with a city and people, and all the kids are gathered in cereal bowls or something, in cereal bowls in the ground, and getting tested because it's Vulcans. Just screens all over, and kids are answering.
Okay, so
of course we know this means this has got to be Spock.
Right, this is my first complaint of the movie. Okay, because at this point Spock is a young child. Okay, Spock is actually quite a bit older than Kirk. Quite a bit. Like an order of magnitude of probably 20 to 30 years.
Again, they could be fudging this. It just no. I'm not going to worry about the timeline too much here because the timeline's going to get effed in the A shortly anyway.
Yeah, but
we know this.
But it's not about the timelines. Okay, it's not about timelines. We don't have the time to talk about timelines. And back to Star Trek First Contact.
You're not drunk. Yeah, you're not drunk. You're not a hot movie chick, and you're not dealing with a inventor of warp drive, so shut up. Okay, so naturally, bullies come to try to see if they can listen to the response. One of them eventually insults his mother enough, and Spock basically kicks the shit out of this kid. It's awesome. So he and Sarek have a little conversation, and basically he calls Sarek on the fact, well, you kind of married a human. What were you thinking? What's with all you talk logic, but you married a human. So we fade cut to Amanda, played by Winona Ryder.
Yeah, actually, not a bad choice for playing.
She does great.
Amanda Grayson.
Yeah, she's gotten awesomer and awesomer through the years. Although she's kind of crazy in Stranger Things. Strangers should be falling into Stranger Things by the end of this movie. Like, okay, spoiler alert. So we cut to her, and Spock's grown up now, and of course she talks to him about whatever, I forget exactly. I don't really care, because he goes before the Vulcan Science Academy, who accept him despite all of the limitations of being half a human. So he basically tells him to go to hell. Yeah. Not in those words exactly, but say, thank you. You have my gratitude. Eat shit and die. And he's out and goes and joins Starfleet instead. So where are we at? So back in Iowa, we come to a bar and we get to see Uhura. Oh, played by Zoe Saldana. Now, Nichelle Nichols is awesome and was good looking in her day, but damn! Also, Zoe Saldana actually gets to play a competent Uhura in this movie, so yay.
Yeah, as opposed to Uhura from Star Trek 6.
Going back to the truck, ring! What?
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes up to a bar in Iowa, which is obviously near the space docks, which we did see in that initial shot with Kirk driving child Kirk driving. We're back to those places, and she's at the bar. She goes to the bar, orders some stuff, and out pops drunken horny Kirk, because it's Kirk. So he starts flirting and something about sex with farm animals, etc., etc. Not only farm animals, but so of course some other cadets show up to smack around the townie. Kirk starts a fight. He doesn't know Kirk Fu, so of course we get stupid punched in the face, Chris Pine face, or so whatever, and he gets his ass kicked. So, but luckily he's saved by Captain Pike. Yep. Shows up. Talks to him about his dad, says, you're really smart. Why are you sitting here bumming around like a townie? Why don't you join Starfleet? So, after that conversation, a lot of bleeding, because Kirk's basically bleeding the whole time. So, he goes out, drives, and looks at a ship under construction, which, of course, is going to be the Enterprise, because why not? Ow. Okay. Still getting used to these Bluetooth jobbies, so I don't have wires. Okay. So next day he rolls up and gives away his motorcycle, hops on a shuttle with Captain Pike, and in walks Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
He's basically going on about how everybody's going to die and all the horrible things that can happen to you in space because it's terrible. And of course, he's joining Starfleet because his wife divorced him and took everything, leaving nothing but his bones.
Yeah. Shoehorned that one in. Ham-fisted it.
Yeah. I will say it's not as bad ham-fisted as the entire movie Solo. Yeah. It was a little throwaway line, but it worked, and Carl Urban is wonderful. In fact, pretty much everybody, they cast them perfectly. This is so well cast, it's not even a joke. The main cast is perfect. Do you have any complaints about anybody in the main cast?
Anton Yelchin would not have been my first choice as a Chekhov. John Cho.
Gotta agree with you. Wait, what? Oh, that was too soon.
John Cho as Sulu was good, although for some reason there was some stupid complaint about him being cast as the role of Sulu because the character of Sulu is Japanese. Of course, George Takei himself is Japanese American. He played the role initially.
And Sulu in the Prime Universe was also straight, apparently.
Yeah, and the other thing is the important thing to point out here, is that George Takei actually did say something very profound when this whole complaint came out, and that was that Sulu, yes, although he was actually, he was Japanese, the idea is that he represented the entire Oriental side of the crew.
We're going for diversity,
right? So
Japanese, Chinese, it's not that different when it comes to an American audience.
Right, with John Cho being Korean, they felt that was an appropriate casting for that role. Again, Anton Yelchin, just because he was Russian, I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with his ability to perform the role as Chekhov. Chekhov was not the whiz kid. He was not some super whiz kid. No.
Well, they had to have a reason to get a 17-year-old suddenly be really skillful.
But Chekhov wasn't that young. He was not that young. I mean, he was in his. He
is in this movie.
He's in his mid-20s in the, or early to mid-20s in the Prime Universe. I know you can talk about this in the Prime Universe.
Yeah. This timeline is going to be blown apart because 3 years later, we find out. We first cut to Nero and his ship. They basically are waiting for ship to pop out, and they capture the ship, which apparently has Spock in it.
Okay.
So immediately we cut to San Francisco. We, of course, get our obligatory Golden Gate shot because, hey, we're in San Francisco. There's the Golden Gate Bridge behind us. Look at it. We're not talking about it, but it's behind us. It's behind us because this is the Golden Gate Bridge because we're at Starfleet Academy. So there's the Golden Gate Bridge because we're in San Francisco. Seriously. Okay. So, basically, Kirk and Bones are walking along talking about the Kobayashi Maru, and Kirk says he's got something up. So, naturally, we cut to Kirk trying to bang a green alien.
Yeah, which she, for the record, that's another complaint because that green alien, Gala, is actually a green Orion, okay? And all female green Orions are, by nature, are slaves.
So. Again, I'm not going to complain that they played with the timelines a little bit and changed some characters. Nah. It's a small nitpick. The bigger nitpicks come later. Trust me. When we get to the big nitpicks, we'll tear this thing apart. Because, like it or not, Star Trek probably would have died and stayed dead longer if it weren't for these movies. Fair enough?
Don't remind me. But the thing is, just because of these movies, we now have Star Trek Discovery. While I am a fan, I'm not a super fan.
I will watch more episodes one of these days. They haven't given a rat's ass.
Well, given the fact that season 2 airs in about 10 days, I think.
Okay, so unfortunately she has to have Kirk dive under the bed because a roommate shows up, and it's Uhura. And Uhura starts stripping. Oh, joy. Unfortunately, this is a Star Trek movie, so we don't... While the boobs in here are not wholly unnecessary, we don't get any farther than bra and panties, at which point Uhura asks about the mouth breather, Kirk pops out, and she throws him out while they bicker in their underwear. So we cut to the next day where she's got her sarcasm on full display because Kirk's captaining them through the Kobayashi Maru.
What I don't understand.
And he's just kind of chilling. It's like, okay, let's go try. Oh no, they're firing at us. Do you want us to fire, Captain? No, we're just going to sit here. Hey, here's an apple. I'll eat this because I'll look like an asshole.
I was going to say, the only way he can look like more of a douche.
I still won't be as big an asshole as Shatner, but still, I'm trying.
And the other thing, what's with the training pajamas? You know, the training, I swear to God, every time I see that scene, I keep thinking, oh my God, I bet you they're all wearing freaking footy pajamas. It's like,
oh well, who cares?
Come on, man.
Still better than the Star Trek: The Motion Pictures outfits. Those were god awful the whole way through.
Yeah, but the uniforms in this movie are just god awful, anyways.
I don't know. I like the main character uniforms are not terrible. I mean, they look like they have enough of the original to look like them, but they have some style to them. I like them. You're whiny ass. Okay, so something weird happens with the Kobayashi Maru, and it says, okay, let's shoot at them. Their shields are down there. They fire one torpedo, and they rescue, and yeah, I got it. And meanwhile, Pike's like, how do you beat that? And turns and it's Spock who apparently programmed this thing.
Yeah. Now.
So we cut to a trial because we're going to try Kirk for apparently cheating, and of course it's led by one Admiral
Medea.
Tyler Perry. Yes, we have Admiral Tyler Perry.
Yeah. Or
I don't know what who cares what the Admiral's actual name? It's Admiral Tyler Perry.
Tyler. And of course, remember.
Basically, go ahead.
No. And every time I see this movie and I see him in that role, I'm thinking, all I can do is imagine this sassy black woman. It's like, oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's like, like Medea goes to space.
Either way. Spock gets up to be the accuser for Kirk. They debate the ethics of the Kobayashi Maru, but before they can get anything done, there's an emergency. The main fleet's off somewhere else.
In the Laurentian system, the entire fleet is in one system. What is it like? Is it like the the officers' ball or something like that? I mean, seriously.
Who knows? But they've got a bunch of ships, so they say, all the cadets, let's go get on the ships. So they scramble for the ships. Uhura, of course, has been assigned to the Farragut. She chews Spock's ass for this, and he reassigns her to the Enterprise lickety-spit. Meanwhile,
has nothing to do with her ability. She totally pulled relationship card on that one, completely.
Yeah, so we couldn't see below the screen where she had him by the balls, literally. Okay, meanwhile, Kirk's told he's on academic suspension, so he's grounded. He can't do anything. So McCoy starts shooting him up with stuff, treating him sick, and drags him aboard the Enterprise. They fly out of San Francisco, passing the Golden Gate Bridge, because San Francisco! And go into space, and we get this. The music starts swelling and powering up, and we hear the score swelling because we get the first shot of the USS Enterprise, and oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Wait,
I don't know if
are we talking about the same Enterprise here? Because
I know it's the redesign. I know it's the Abrams redesign, and there's some flaws with it, and you have to bitch about it. But that ship, it doesn't matter which Enterprise, whether it's the original Enterprise, 1701, 1701A,
okay.
B, C, D, E. The Abrams version, the NX-01 from Enterprise.
Look, I just want to say this.
It's an Enterprise reveal. It's big and it's beautiful.
My personal feeling on it is the fact that this is not the birth of the Enterprise. It's the afterbirth of the Enterprise. Because it's horrible. It looks, it is like Seriously, it's like they gave some second year art student said, "Hey guy, would you like to design a starship? How would you like to design the Enterprise for our new movie? How would you like that, huh? You know what? Okay, seriously, I would rather see the what the hell is it?
Would you like some cheese with your wine?
Oh, hey, come on, man. That design is absolutely stupid, and it gets even more stupid as we go along. It's not just the design of the ship. I mean, it's a floating freaking Apple store in space. I mean,
Oh yeah, we're going to rip on that and the brewery down in engineering.
which by the way, I used to drive past every day on my way to work. I used to drive past engineering.
But the outside, knock the design all you want. It's still beautiful to have the reveal and to actually have more than one ship in the damn sector.
Yeah, okay, that I can get with that. Okay, that one.
Yeah, there'll only be one damn ship in the sector shortly, but that's not because Starfleet only seems to have one damn ship in the sector.
Right.
So they start pulling out, everybody pulls out, and we get introduced to Sulu because he's flying the ship and he forgets to take off the external inertial dampers. So when everybody else goes, everyone's going to warp and something's not working. Crap.
It was as stupid as the Excelsior conking out in Star Trek 3. Seriously. I mean, all they needed was clunk, clunk.
But at least it's a rookie mistake. I'll give him that. And he knows how to fly the ship once it gets down to brass tacks. Let's give credit where credit is due. Everybody on this ship, everybody in the main cast is a competent officer to varying degrees.
Just not
maybe more than others, but
apparently
none of them are Uhura in Star Trek 6.
Okay, I'll give you that. Or Scotty in Star Trek 5. The thing is, but I mean, come on. Think about it. Sulu, by this point, is a lieutenant. He is a lieutenant. Okay, that means he passed through the ensign phase, which means at some point he piloted a starship. Okay, he didn't just walk out there and go, "Oh, whoa, what is this, man? You should have seen my last one. It was made by Ford. Oh my God, this is great." No, stupid scene, stupid, very stupid. Especially
give us a bit of comedy before charging into racing. So let's see here.
The whole Lieutenant, where's Helmsman McKenna? He has lungworm. I'm Hikaru Sulu. Oh my God, it's Sulu! That's who this guy is! Come on. No way. Again, farce.
Okay, so Kirk and Bones get to sick bay. Bones keeps shooting shots into Kirk to fix whatever he's broken. Meanwhile, we get introduced to Chekhov, who, of course, has problems pronouncing the word Victor.
Okay, go ahead, please. This is all you, man.
On the plus side, we do get the magical computer voice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on just a moment. I'm going to have to switch headphones because my headphones literally just died on me.
Okay.
Hold on.
That's fine because I need a minute here to rip on this thing. Okay.
Go ahead while I find my good headphones. Crap.
So the whole thing is that
these. Go ahead.
Pike does the whole thing with Chenko, Chirpov, Chenko, whatever. What's your name, Russian whiz kid? Chekhov. Come on, man. Okay, first of all, Chekhov was not 17. He would not be a 17-year-old Starfleet officer. Okay, let's assume that he is a whiz kid. Okay, he was never a whiz kid. Okay, the character of Chekhov. Okay, go back and watch the original series episodes when they talk about him. The reason why he had that stupid haircut is because he was supposed to be like the monkeys. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much. It was, let's get somebody young on there to try to get the kids to watch.
Exactly.
Some Hollywood asshole picked this one out. But let's make him Russian because why not?
Hey,
we need more diversity.
I like the character. Love the character of Chekhov. Always have, because he's always been. He's been like a. he's been a foil. He's been the comedic gold. He's always been the straight man to Sulu. So, anyways, but okay, so they're off. They take off. They figure this shit out. They take off. They go to Vulcan, which apparently they're going to get there in 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. There's probably more time, but Abrams plays way fast and loose with the timelines. I mean, to the point that travel time means dick in these movies. Now, and that's through all the movies. Even if we like the movie, it's some bullshit here.
Look, I'm going to go on record as saying basically what I felt like J.J. Abrams did with the Star Trek universe is he played so fast and loose with it, he basically dropped trowel and took a crap all over it. And it's not because he tells a bad story. I'm not gonna say that this is a bad story. Okay, this is actually if you took the Star Trek element out of it and just called it a sci-fi action flick, it has all the cool elements of a sci-fi action flick. But as far as trying to be faithful to the 50 years of Star Trek before this, no. All over it. I mean, like, seriously. Roddenberry, okay, would be rolling in his freaking grave if he saw this crap.
Oh, he was rolling in his grave by the time they got to the Dominion War. You know that.
Probably, yeah.
Come on. Come on. You could be generating electricity off his ass at this point.
Star Trek, the important thing about this is that Star Trek was never designed to be this, big thing with military. So, yes, you're right. When they brought out the Dominion War, oh, my God. That was all-out war on a Star Trek show, which was a show about space exploration. Remember, space exploration.
But it was a pretty cool war, so I'm not complaining. Okay, so let's get back to this because we're going to run real long if we don't pick up the pace here. Okay, so meanwhile, Kirk's figuring things out as his hands get puffy and he gets numb tongue and he runs down while shots are getting pumped into him. Talks to Uhura because previously he'd heard something about the communication involving Romulans. He puts it together. Goes running to the bridge with Uhura and Bones in tow. They get into a back and forth with Pike and Spock, and ultimately they figure, oh shit, we're going to fly into a fight.
Right. And when they pull out of warp, of course they fly into a junkyard in space over Vulcan.
So now they're the only ship in the sector, but at least they're only the ship in the sector because everybody else died.
Right.
And they do some really cool shots flying through, and yeah. We didn't forget to mention the bridge when they first walk on, and it's basically a lens flare-filled Apple store. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. And it doesn't get any better, throughout the entire Abrams' first movies, okay? And also, bear in mind, if you look, there's these things that look like they got like little red screen, plastic things on the front of them. Those are literally barcode scanners. They put on the bridge. So, in case you need to do a price check on that iPad while you're on the bridge, it's there.
Okay, so they get to Vulcan. Somehow there's a drill extended down, blasting a hole into the planet.
Right.
And of course we got a shot of Amanda going out to look at it. Because, oh no, there's Amanda. We got to remember she's in this.
And of course, that shot, Kirk coming out of the house, is of course anybody recognizes the iconic Vasquez Rocks formation right there.
Well, you had to get Vasquez in there somewhere.
Like Golden Gate Bridge, that didn't show up either.
So one additional thing is this is where Uhura gets her post because the other guy can't translate. So Uhura is super competent, so she gets her bridge post. Yay!
Okay, that's cool, but the thing is why? Why does she get that post? What is it that she supposedly knows that gives her that role?
All three dialects of Romulan.
Okay, wait a minute. At this point, they have never seen a Romulan. They have never spoken directly to them, much less learned their language. At this point, they have no freaking idea what Romulans look like, sound like.
This is JJ fisting the timeline.
Carry on.
So of course they fly through through the graveyard. Romulans, the ship starts firing at him, but Nero recognizes the Enterprise, so he stops it just to taunt Spock, and tells Pike he's got to fly over. But that drill's blocking that drill for some reason is blocking transporter.
Yeah, like, so what you're saying is basically, and forgive me for saying this, but the drill cock blocked the transporters.
Basically. So they come with a plan. A couple things happen there. Kirk and Spock start to follow Pike down. Sulu tags along because he apparently has martial training or something.
Fencing.
So basically he says, I'm going to go over to the ship. You guys, Kirk and Sulu and Ensign Red Shirt, are going to skydive down to the drill and take it out. And Spock's in command of the ship, and Kirk is now first officer because...
Okay. Another point to bring up.
What the actual shit?
Yeah, that's another thing to bring up. They treat these ships like they are maritime vessels, as in well, you're in command, that makes you captain. No, okay, captain is a rank. Starfleet models itself off of a military rank structure. Okay, so captain means rank of captain. Now, while Kirk technically was the youngest man in Starfleet to become a captain, okay?
I'm sure he didn't do it within a day of being the Kobayashi Maru.
No, he was 35 years old when he got command of Enterprise.
Oh, let me jump back there. He said in 4 years you can be on a ship, and 8 years you can have your own command. That was Pike talking to Kirk earlier. Not 8 years. It wasn't 8 years. It was 8 minutes, roughly.
Yeah, it was just stupid.
So, yeah, that one's stupid.
We saw this with George Kirk, because remember when Captain Robau leaves the Kelvin, he's like, Captain, I'm not the captain now. You are.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Again, I'm not going to scream about that too much, except for the fact that it seems to be permanent, and we know they're going to be in these roles. They're going to be in their roles at the end of this movie, which is so rushed. It's not even. It's beyond nonsensical. Okay. Where am I at? I have. Yeah. Okay. McCoy gets promoted to the chief medical officer because the chief medical officer is dead. That kind of makes a little more sense. So, Kirk, Sulu, and the Red Shirt go skydiving out of the ship, and we get another cool-ass shot of them diving in and racing in. Sulu pulls his chute, and then Kirk pulls his chute, and then Ensign Red Shirt, I don't even care what his name is, because his job is to yell, pop his chute, and then get sucked into the drill's flame and die. Yep. That's what he does.
Engineer Olson was his name.
Red Shirt. His name is Red Shirt. Kirk lands, somebody comes out, and Kirk starts the punching. Still not doing the Kirk foo, so ends up getting his ass kicked around. Sulu lands and manages to pull himself up, whips out his extendable katana, and starts sword fighting the shit out of him. Kicks the one guy back in, gets him burned up, and then stabs and saves Kirk. Now, you know that this is obviously the reboot because Sulu wouldn't have done that in the original series because George Takei probably wanted Shatner dead.
Probably.
Yes. No probablys, actually. So, of course, Ensign Redshirt had the explosive, so they just take and start shooting the thing and blow it up. And, of course, it's too late, though. We're at the depths, so out goes the red matter into Vulcan, and Vulcan starts blowing up. So they start pulling the drill up. Sulu falls off. Kirk jumps after him, and this is where Chekhov magically gets his super transporter skills. I can get it. Beams them off, and they don't die. But of course, meanwhile, Spock beams down, tries to evacuate the Vulcan High Council. Half of them get smashed by rocks. And of course, they get out, and they're getting ready to beam, and Amanda falls to her death. right down into Stranger Things. From Vulcan to Indiana, that's where the black hole took her.
Yep.
We now know. So maybe probably a positive thing for Winona Ryder. And they beam out, and most of the Vulcan race is dead now because billions are sucked to death on the planet. So let's see here. Okay. Enterprise flies away. So Spock goes to a captain's log where he basically points out that he's pretty much in an endangered species. We get Uhura and Spock in the turbo lift, where if you weren't paying attention to their relationship, they kind of cry hug and make out a little bit because Spock is all sad. Meanwhile, Nero's torturing Pike a little bit. We get some of the backstory of Nero watching Romulus burn, and he gets and mentions, we're going to go after Earth next because this is a Star Trek movie.
Yep, they have to go after Earth. And of course, he attacks him with a Centauran slug, which looks stupidly similar to the slug creature from SETI Alpha 5 in Wrath of Khan.
So we could give this credit best use of something from Star Trek 2, correct?
Sure. Yeah, the only
considering what comes after this, yes, it is the best use. Because let's just throw this little thing in. It could have been discussed. Who knows? Meanwhile, Meanwhile, on the bridge, they start discussing the hero's plan, and of course, covering their ass for the time shift. So obviously, these from the future. So something's happened to change the past, starting with the Kelvin timeline. Covered. Okay. So but of course, Kirk gets in Spock's face. Spock tries to throw him off the bridge. He gets in a fight with everybody, and Spock gives the Vulcan nerve pinch and ejects him from the ship onto an ice planet.
Instead of they putting him in the brig where he belongs.
So Kirk crawls out and finds out there's a Starfleet base somewhere. So he starts walking toward it, gets chased by one creature. So another giant creature pops out of the ground, kills that creature, then starts chasing after him. He slides down a hill, runs into a cave, and gets saved by Spock.
Future
and not
Spock.
Just any Spock, but OG Leonard fucking Nimoy. Hallelujah, we got somebody that knows what Trek is actually on this cast. But then again, he did show up in the follow-up to this, so... Okay, so he does a little mind meld. With Kirk and info dumps all the backstory. So now we know basically why Spock did it and why Spock's there and what the timeline thing is and all that. So basically, he says we got to get moving. They go to the outpost. Now that outpost is pretty much abandoned except for some weird-ass little alien and Scotty! Because we haven't seen Montgomery Scott yet. So, of course, they talk about transwarp beaming because, hey, we've got to find some way to get this ridiculous stranding on a planet. We got to figure out some way to get his ass off the planet and back onto the Enterprise. And we got Scotty, so we can send them both back.
Yeah,
so, of course...
It's not like this is going to bite them in the ass at any point.
Oh, no, this could never go backfire. It's not like you're going to be halfway across the galaxy and pretty much make space travel meaningless. Then there's going to... at least we don't have magical space blood or some shit.
Yeah, could save millions of tribbles. So...
Okay, so meanwhile, McCoy's bitching at Spock about ditching Kirk as the Enterprise goes off to meet the fleet. Now, Kirk and Spock Prime have arrived at the post. They figure out the whole transwarp beaming, and Spock gives some bullshit about not telling his younger alternate self about him. Of course, that gets thrown. Of course, we find out later Spock is just full of shit because why not? Because I think at this point Nimoy said, "Hey, it's a paycheck," and I haven't been in a Trek movie for a while. It's not like I'm doing anything else. So they get beamed. So Scotty and Kirk beam to the Enterprise, except Scotty gets beamed into a big jug of water and gets shoved through some pipes. And Kirk saves his ass. It still looks like a frickin' brewery.
In fact, it is.
Literally, it's a brewery.
Yeah, it's
engineering was a brewery.
Yep, it was the Anheuser-Busch factory in Los Angeles.
So that's why we get the Budweiser Classics at the beginning?
Yep.
And
don't forget the Cardassian sunrise. Again, a Cardassian sunrise. What?
Of course, they get busted and hauled to the bridge. Kirk, operating on Spock Prime's recommendations, pisses off Spock and gets his ass kicked again, so we get more face. Yeah. Because it's Chris Pine. He's always got to make a stupid face when he gets punched. So Spock gets all upset and realizes, oh shit, I'm being emotional. Okay, I quit. I'm no longer commanding the ship. I'm walking away. And Kirk takes over because Sulu says, yeah, he made him first officer. So Kirk sits in the big chair. It's over. Crap.
Unreal.
So meanwhile, Spock and Sarah get a little mope scene because, yeah.
Still.
So on the bridge, they're techno-babbling up a plan. They're going to jump in and figure out the techno-babble a plan. We only hear half the plan because we got a mystery box this shit because J.J. Abrams. So, of course, Scotty, they're only like 4 planets away. So, of course, Scotty can beam him right over and beams him right in the middle of a gunfight. They go start shooting, and it's a really cool little fight through this weird-ass ship that is just the stupidest design ever.
Remember, the reason why Spock said he should be on this mission is because Vulcans and Romulans share a common ancestor. What? Okay.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not just because J.J. Abrams couldn't get the timeline exactly right as to who knows what when, and he just pulled whatever elements fit the story. I'm going to let that slide a little bit because come on. Because there are bigger problems than that in this movie.
It's not just J.J. Abrams. You can thank Robert Orkai and Alex Kurtzman for Lincoln logging this stupid script.
Anyway, after Kirk stuns at least one of the guys. Spock runs over, does a little mind rape. He tends to rape people's minds a lot in this, and it's just like, okay, I'm sucking stuff out of your mind. At least he doesn't do it in any future movies. Hi, Pike, let me rape you or your mind. Yeah. Okay, so they get over there. After the mind rape, they run to... They go find the, let's see here. Again.
They go find the jellyfish ship.
They go find the ship. Spock hops on board, and they have a cute little exchange. Spock takes off and eventually shoots his way out. Meanwhile, Kirk runs around the ship and gets his ass kicked by Nero, and then Nero's assistant takes over when Nero gets called to the bridge after Spock shoots the drill down, and it's gone, so...
Right. Now, the other thing is, when Spock gets on the jellyfish ship, it surprises him because it recognizes him. I wonder why, because it's his ship from the future.
There's something you're not telling me. Well, no shit, asshole.
Really? Really? You known me for how long? Wait a minute. Hang on. Wait, didn't you just boot me off the ship for? Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Just go.
Okay. So meanwhile, after Kirk getting his ass kicked again, he manages to choke out, "I got your gun," and shoots a Rodman and actually wins a fight for once. Yep, I mean, seriously, he's lost every fight up to this point, and then he manages to pull a gun and shoot somebody. Yay. Okay, so then Kirk stumbles through and finds Pike. As Spock takes off, and meanwhile Spock takes off, and the Romulans give chase. He comes out of warp farther away and turns around and gets ready to shoot. Fly into him. They unload everything on him, and the Enterprise shows up in an awesome shoot 'em up scene and clears everything. Spock flies the ship in. And they beam everybody, and they beam Kirk and Pike and Spock back on the Enterprise. As the ship hits, red matter goes everywhere. Black hole forms up.
Right in the middle of the ship. Right in the middle of the ship.
Yeah, which is awesome. So they call over and they offer to rescue the Romulans. Nero tells them to go to hell. That's not what I have written. I have something a little more interesting written. Of course, he says no, so they start shooting him. And then they almost get sucked into the black hole. Things start cracking, but they blow the warp cores, which blasts them free. And they escape. Yay. So everybody's on the ship and roughly doing their job. So we cut to afterwards. Spock spots a Vulcan that he thinks is his father. No, it's Spock Prime. They have a little discussion, and they discover Spock calls out Spock Prime for saying, "You lied." No, I implied. Because we got to bring that one back. It was a cute line. So we cut to Admiral Tyler Perry giving Kirk an award and giving him the captain seat on the Enterprise. So, yeah.
And then Pike, and then of course.
Okay,
Pike
save the planet. Here's a ship.
Yeah. And the thing, and Pike's showing up in a wheelchair. Really? Really? Really?
Yeah, that was. I'm not complaining. Again, little nitpicks I'm not complaining about. Okay. It's the big things that are the problem.
But seriously, I mean, it wouldn't have been any more stupid if he only spoke in beep, 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 beep.
That would have been stupider. The fact is, they alluded to something in the series, and obviously he was messed up from the thing, so I'm complaining on that one. Yeah. I think you nitpick because you really have a hard-on for hating this movie. Although, we'll get to that in the end. So, basically, they all get to the bridge. We get a little face shot of everybody. Spock shows up. And, of course, the ship pulls out. And we get Spock Prime doing the space, the final frontier. As the music swells, and we kick into the end credits with the original theme from Alexander Courage mixed with Michael Giacchino's theme. And it's... I'm going to say this. They earned the theme. There are problems with this movie, yes, but they earned it. Eat a dick, seriously.
The end theme is pretty cool, actually.
Oh, yeah. Again, this is trying to completely rework and revitalize Star Trek, and they weren't getting anywhere with their old formula. I mean, let's be honest. The original crew was done. The Next Generation crew had run their shows into the ground. So DS9 was never getting anything. Voyager was never getting anything. Enterprise was beyond dead on arrival.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I felt like J.J. Abrams tried, by trying to revitalize the franchise this way, effectively was trying to fix a broken china plate with a hammer.
No, he was trying to hide it in his mystery box. Mystery box.
Wait till he comes back in the next movie. Hey, I'll give you a mystery box. I'll give you 70 of them.
Yeah, I think I'm about to shove that mystery box sideways straight up his ass.
So...
But on this one, I'm giving it 4 because it is such a good movie, except for these track problems are so terrible.
Okay,
but
I'm going to say to this. Okay,
but this was going to be a near impossible movie to pull off because you had to put the crew together from scratch.
Okay, I'm going to give it 2. I'm going to give it 2, and the only reason I give it 2 is because the next movie is going to get 1, or maybe even a half.
No, the next movie does not exist. Oh. That's how I give it. There is no Vulcan. No, the next movie. You are going to do this. You're going to do the shit that I do for the next movie. I am not doing that. I'm going to just rip every piece of shit off that worthless piece of
garbage.
Yes, I'm going to save what I really want to say for the next review, so you can just go through and just put bleeps in every sentence when I curse excessively. Because this movie had the hardest job of all. They had to reestablish Star Trek essentially from scratch.
Still didn't like it. Still don't like it. But
I like this movie.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it like I used to.
Yeah, understand it's a reboot. you're going to have problems with reboots. And this has all the hallmarks of problems with reboots. But it was a necessary reboot.
Fair enough.
So,
well, with that note, that's all the time we have for this epically long, hour-long episode of Treknicity. I have been your host, Lars de Scenza, and with me has been Patrick Murray. And as always, here on Treknicity, we welcome you to rock out with your Spock out. See you later, folks. Have fun. Bye.